welcome back. Another story time with Soft Serve. Hope everybody's day's been going good. So after I made a couple of videos about this stuff, I've had a lot of questions asked, specifically how I got into transporting. And it's not like a big story. I'd already asked a couple of funeral homes, and at the time they weren't hiring. I had asked coroner's offices because I knew that they hired for transport, and at the time they weren't hiring. So after going to a bunch of different places, even going to the company that was currently providing transportation for the coroner, I wound up meeting a guy. It was an older gentleman. He ran a funeral home, and it was one that I had driven by this place a million times but never stopped. And the one day that I did stop, I stopped and started talking to him, and really nice guy. He was an old school guy, very polite, very courteous, had manners, just really awesome guy. Well, this guy knew another guy that ran a company it was a newer company. It had just started out. Had probably been in business for like a year or two and wasn't doing a whole lot of business, but it was an in to a company. So he puts me in touch with this guy. And so I gave the guy a call, and we met up at a public place. I think it was like a restaurant or something. It was across the road from a mall, and there were a bunch of restaurants there. But I met this guy in a parking lot, first time ever meeting him. And so he told me what he was looking for, what to expect. He even had, at the time, he only had one van, but he was driving that because just in case he got a call, he could go right there. And so we talked in the parking lot. The dude was very well dressed, very well spoken, very business-like, just a really good guy. He had some different companies, and this was just another way for him to make more money. And so he was looking for someone that he could trust, that could help him go out and provide a service for some funeral homes that he had. And he also did backup for one of the county coroners. Because at the time where I lived on the border of two counties. I lived at the north side of the county that I was residing in. And so he got my number and everything. And we're in a doggone parking lot of a restaurant. And he showed me the van, showed me everything that was there. It probably looked really shady seeing two guys in suits and ties fumbling around in the back of a van, but hey. So I started with that company, and it seemed like I was calling him every day. Hey, did we get a call last night? Did you not call me? And he's like, no, man, it's real slow. He's like, just wait, it'll pick up. And a couple days go by, still no call. And I'm like, what the heck? He's like, man, no, for real, whenever I get a call, I'll call you. And I'm sitting there thinking like, man, there can't be, I know there's people dying every day. And when I started, it just happened to be a very slow time. So then I worked for him. All of a sudden, one day, it's usually when you've got stuff to do, that's when you're going to get a call. So I literally was in the middle of something, and bam, phone rings. It's him. I'm like, oh crap, I got to go to work. And met up with him. I drove my vehicle. I met him at a location that was close to where we were going, and jumped in the van. He filled me in on what was going on. Whenever we get there, we're going to go in there. It's a facility. I can't remember if it was a facility call or an apartment, but nonetheless, he chose to have me go with him. And so went with him, saw how professional he was, and the guy actually cared. He treated this deceased individual as if she were his mom or his grandmother. And I'm like, wow, that kind of makes me feel a lot better, because working in these types of jobs, you can meet some very odd or different people. But long story short, we get the deceased. He shows me how he wants everything done. I do that with him. We wrapped her up in a sheet, placed her on a flex cot, which is like a flexible cot that you can carry. It's easier than taking the cot or the gurney to an area, because with all the turns and hallways and doorways and stuff, it's hard to get a cot into some places. So we place her on a flex cot, and then we carry her to the other cot. And he showed me how he wanted her buckled in, take great care, treat them as if you would treat your loved one. And I always remembered that. But then we put the cot cover over her and we put her in the van. And then he took me to where we were dropping her off. And it was a funeral home, a very well known funeral home. That's how I got into that. And then just doing more runs. So we were doing runs for funeral homes and also doing backup for a county coroner. And it was not the county that I resided in, it was the county just north of me. And so we were looking at expanding and getting more customers and a contract with the county that I stayed in. So basically, how it works, a transport contract comes open with a county coroner or a medical examiner. And basically, you have to submit a bid. You have to have been in business for so long. You got to get background checks. They want to see everything. And we were just fortunate. We had a good group of guys that worked for him. The boss was a straight up guy. He was on everything. He would literally make sure everything was right and was perfect. And if it was not, he would definitely, you better have a reason why, because you screw up in this industry and your business is done. So moving forward, we had submitted a bid for the coroner's office for transport. And that was, oh gosh, probably 1,500 to 2,000 more calls per year. And some of these calls were pretty rough. You literally go to the crime scene, you see how everything was. You respond to pretty much anything that you can think of. And so I did that. And so if anybody's ever thinking about getting into that, just know for sure what you're getting into. They say goodbye to sleep, because usually right when you're just about to doze off and get a really good bit of sleep, that's when your phone's going to ring. And then some nights it might ring all night. You might be on a call and go directly to another one. And then while you're on that one, you get a call for another one. And if you're the driver for that night, usually they'll split it up. They'll have two people on call. One is like a primary, one is a secondary. And then sometimes you'll have to run 2 to 3 vans a night to keep up with the volume of calls. I've had days that I didn't sleep for a couple of days. I've had calls that I go to where I think I'm getting one body, and I get there and there's 2 or 3 house fires, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure the first call that I went to for that coroner, it was a house fire. And one was still on scene, the other one was at the hospital, I think. But you just try to keep up and try to sleep when you can. Always have a change of clothes, because with doing transport for funeral homes, you have one uniform you have to wear, and doing transport for the coroner, you have a separate uniform, and you got to have everything with you at all times. Make sure the van is gassed up, it's serviced, it's clean. Make sure you look well kept, haircut, shave. Make sure you don't look like a bag of trash going in there to pick up someone's loved one, because trust me, I've shown up at scenes and they are not happy to see you. They know that you are taking their loved one away. And I always try to reassure them that, hey, I am going to treat your loved one as if they were one of my loved ones. And so just be very gentle, be very kind, be very respectful. And if the family has questions, answer them, and don't be very cold and callous, because that job will make you a pretty cold person. Just some of the stuff that you see. And I always try to speak with the family or the loved ones. Just be very soft spoken, be very respectful. And but I did that, and we did business for a good long while. And I was actually in between working two different government jobs, and that's when I found that. And there's a whole story that goes after that, because this job landed me another job, and then but I'll get into that in a different video, but I figured I'd try to do a quick one. But I love you guys. Be safe out there. And if you have any more questions, just email me or comment on the video. So thank you. Have a good day.